Hello, dear listeners. We have a wonderful show for you today with one of my favorite people on earth. We are joined by the Emmy-nominated #1 New York Times bestselling author, Brad Meltzer, and he has written a new thriller called The VIPER, which you must run, do not walk, to buy this book and read it. You know Brad's work. His thrillers include The Lightning Rod. His nonfiction includes The JFK Conspiracy and more. And his children's series has become a fundamental backbone in every library for children across the country. And it's called the Ordinary People Change the World series. So it's famous Americans when they were kids. We're so excited to chat with Brad today about his books, his process, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud to call him my friend, the great Brad Meltzer. Brad Meltzer, I am always so happy to see you because I feel that you write for every reader in America, from the wee ones to the old ones. And I want to know, first of all, why? What compels you to tackle all these different genres so expertly?
Yeah. First of all, I need to say I love you. I'm so happy to be here. I have to say it because we go back a long way.
I feel the love. I feel the love.
I think when we first met, I might have even had some hair. That's how long it's been at this point. But for the different things, you are a person of passion, and I'm a person of passion. That's what always been our friendship and the moment we met, and that's what it is. I mean, I know that all of my books have one thing in common. It's my core belief. I believe ordinary people change the world. I don't care where you went to school. I don't care how much money you make. That's nonsense to me. I believe in regular people and their ability to affect change. But I know one thing. My best books are the ones where I'm like, I can't wait to tell this story. And the only reason I'm writing all these genres is because sometimes I'm like, I got to write a kid's book for my kids and make them feel like they're the top of the world. And sometimes I'm like, I got to do this history story. No one knows this real story about Abraham Lincoln. And sometimes I'm like, I just want to murder someone. And so the thrillers come from that. And so each of those things is just a different version of me. And I just kind of go with the one I love.
The nonfiction you have written really feeds your fiction.
It always does. Right. I mean, like,
there's a truth to it. Yeah.
There has to be, and let's just talk about it a moment. My main characters in the new thriller, they've been around for 3 books now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to have ever read them before. You can start with the VIPER. But
yeah, I started with this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And now we have the new cover, the new orange cover.
I love that cover.
The thing is Zig, who's the main character, there's 2 main characters, there's a man and a woman in there. And Zig believes if you're a good person and you put good into the world becomes a better place. It's a beautiful idea. It's a completely naive idea, but it's an idea worth fighting for, right?
That's right.
And Nola, who's the main female lead of the book, is like, that is ridiculous. If you want the world to make sense, you grab it by the throat and you force it to make sense. And especially when you're fighting against injustice, when you're fighting to stick up for someone, just fight, man. You just got to fight sometimes. Stop with the niceness. And that's an idea worth fighting for. And I got to tell you, Adriana, like, this is 3 books now. I thought I was like, they're both a little bit, which side of me is right? They're both a little bit me. And it took this book to realize that I don't have to choose, that all of us are amazing and we're awful, and we're generous and we're stingy, and we're incredible and we're brave and we're cowards, and all of us sometimes in the same day. And this book was for me finally realizing I'm not choosing between those 2 characters. I'm going to be both of them and trying to kind of love myself for who I am.
It's so interesting that you are able to attenuate tension across books in a series. If you get into the art of Brad Meltzer, if you get into it, you realize that you're building something here. There's a point of view here that people need, and that thrills them on some level, challenges them, gets them in there to solve the dilemma themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I love the thriller part, right? I mean, So this one came about. I'm truly in a I'm in a funeral home. I'm doing research, and this mortician's taking me around. I'm like, I've never seen a funeral home before, unless you're in a funeral home for the obvious reason you're in a funeral home for. But nobody's in there, and we're walking around to show me what it's like. And there's a door with a giant bolt lock on it, and I'm like, well, that's the door I want to know about. What's in there? And he's like, oh, you'll see. And he takes out his keys and he clicks open this giant bolt lock, swings open the door. And inside are like all these like old people outfits from like the 90s, like an old suit, an old sequin dress you'd wear at like a wedding. And he explains to me, when you have no family and you're old, you pick out what you're going to be buried in. You pick it out yourself. He's like, this is what all these people are going to be buried in. And he's got like a Jets jersey in there. Someone's got a cowboy hat because they're like, my ex-wife hates this hat. Make sure I'm wearing it when she sees me. You know, like people are really funny and crazy. And I love that, right? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I realize that if you go to, and that's what happens in the book. The guy walks into a funeral home with his favorite blue suit because he's dying and he wants the guy to take his clothes. But if you open up a bank account, paperwork gets filed. Government can find it. You go to the UPS store and you open up a PO box, paperwork's filed there too. You can find that. There's cookie, jars that now have Wi-Fi enabled. You can tell you who's stealing the last chocolate chip from your family. But if you go to your local funeral home and you hand the mortician your favorite suit and you sew something into the lining of that suit, you have an untraceable, perfect hiding spot. And the character comes out of the funeral home, goes to his hotel, guys with a gun says, where is it? He says, I don't know what you're talking about. They shoot him dead. They're looking for this item, and you'll never believe who finds it. It's sitting in that funeral home. And I just ruined chapter 1 of the VIPER. But like, to me, the fun of that, that's the fun of like, okay, that's what's going to make you turn the pages. What's happening? What's in there? How did it happen? But I don't think I'd enjoy the books if they were just the action part. Like, I need the human character, the romance, the relationship between these two. Like, that is me searching for my own answers myself. And that, to me, is the best part of every book.
Well, Zig and Nola, oh my God, they're beautifully drawn. I found them to be hilarious sometimes. And, I don't think I've given anything away reading this, to just give people a sense of just how you dramatize. To me, they move better than movies. You do it all on the page. As with the worst violence, it happened fast. The knife was in Roddy's chest, then it wasn't. In a quick, fluid movement, Fish had shoved the knife in, then yanked it out and geared up to stab it again. Not that Roddy noticed. It was you, wasn't it? And then from there, there's a confession. I mean, this is, to me, I marvel at you, because these characters kind of rally around. And by the way, it's not a simple notion. You layer it with the witness protection program, which, by the way, I as a reader cannot get enough of.
How crazy is that stuff?
It's so nutty, but also delicious and propulsive, which is the word of the year. We want to keep turning those pages to see what happened, but you thought of making that a part of this story. Now, where does that come from?
It truly came, right? I mean, from my own obsession with the friggin' witness protection program. Like, for years, I'm like, I've done the secret tunnels below the White House. I've done the labyrinth below the Capitol. I've been in the Supreme Court. I've been in the secret tunnels below Disney World. But I was like, I got to find someone in witness protection to help me. It was one of the hardest ones to crack. And I won't ruin the parts of the book, but one of the first things they gave me is I was like, oh, you got a lot of mobsters there, right? We all know, like, Italians and Jews, we got in Brooklyn, like, that's what we know. Like, they got to be there.
That's right.
And they're like, oh, no, you don't know how it works. I'm like, what? And they're like, yes, the witness protection program started for mobsters. But guess what happened? The mob really got taken apart. So it's not like crime got solved. So guess what took its place? Gang members. Gang members then became the number one people who were in witness protection, because that's the crime that kind of rose up when the mobsters, were taken down. But then 9/11 happened. guess who was in witness protection program? People that were ratting on terrorists, because that became the new crime we were chasing. And I said, well, who's in there now? And they said to me that one of the biggest groups that's in there now in witness protection are accountants, right? Think of the world we live in right now. It's people who are moving data. That's the crime of the century. So I just they said that. I'm like, tell me more. I am sitting and I am listening. And obviously we poured that into the book, and the ideas that are in there, came from a lot of talks with a lot of witness protection people.
But this is the first time I ever read about the witness protection program where, Brad, you described to us why it's not a life worth living on the other side. When I've read about witness protection program before, it's always like, ooh, what a relief, I get to live. Now I'm going to be Bob when I was Jimmy. That's not what happens here. This is like you're in there and it's like, oh man, was any of this worth it? It's like a moral conundrum that's presented to the reader. That was so artful and inventive to me. I loved it.
Yeah, no, and listen, I wish I could say it was all from my imagination. It's what happens, right? You give up your life, you say, I'm going to live, great, I'm now the new person, I'm going to get a nose job or whatever it is, as if, when we were younger, it's like quicksand we thought was going to kill us, right? It's like witness protection, we thought if you get a nose job, no one will recognize who you are. Like, what do we, they can't really alter you, so you got to stay hidden, right? You can't just go back to your old life. But as anyone knows, you can't, there's things you miss about your life. There's old girlfriends and old boyfriends and people that you long for, and your
that
mom
you didn't
and
even
your
think
sister.
about. Yeah.
You don't even think about what, and what they said to me, it's the call of the past. The call of the past is it is a siren song, and we know it now, right? We today live in our past more than ever before. Like when we were growing up, you and I, if you saw someone from the old neighborhood, that was like a really fun day. And what a surprise. But now, Facebook and Instagram, you see your past all day long. You go on and there's your old girlfriend, there's your old boyfriend, there's the high school kid you had a crush on. We are walking with our past every day, and it is seductive because you're constantly playing what if this changed? What if I didn't do this? What if I did do that? And when you're in witness protection, look out, baby, because that's all you're doing all day long. And that's why witness protection keeps failing. It's not the place itself. It's that people can't stay away from their past.
The longing for the do-over,
I think that's redemption. One of the, I remember reading once, and it really hit me, is that everyone, remember that guy in 9/11? There was this one guy who basically was dead, and they found out he wasn't dead, but he used that as the excuse to take on a new identity. And I remember reading about this guy.
Right.
And I was obsessed with it. I was like, it's, again, so seductive to think I could just invent myself tomorrow and be anything I want. My son just got into college, and he's so excited that he can, at college, be a whole new version of himself.
That's right.
It's a beautiful idea. And I don't think it goes away in college. I think in the back of our heads, when you hear that I think that's why the witness protection program for all of us is such an interesting thing to jump into, because you're like, I can leave it all. And again, you can be very happy with your life, but the idea that you can just start over blank slate, that idea sticks with me. And I think
as you describe it, Brad, it's sort of your creative life. You finish one story and you start a new one, and you're the same guy in the chair with the same set of dreams and longings and perceptions. How do you keep it fresh, and how do you keep it moving forward?
First of all, I love the free therapy. You're right, by the way. I do think it is what we love, right? We get to try on all the different hats and faces.
We get to try on the different hats, faces, love affairs, failures.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, though, my thing is I'm not, I think that one of the things I hope I do well is I'm endlessly curious about, what's wrong with me. And I mean that in a good sense, just always trying to improve, always trying to transform. I believe that we can always make ourselves a little better. We can always be a little nicer. We can be a little kinder. We can be a little more patient with our loved ones. We can always improve. And I think, if you write in pencil in your life, as a friend said to me, he said, what we tend to do is we tend to our ideas calcify and they become like stone. And so we write in pen a lot, permanent. Everything, our beliefs are permanent. And I think if you do that, you make a mistake. If you write in pencil and you use the eraser, it's far more interesting. And that's the one thing I feel like I hope I'm pretty good at. And I think all the books are me just trying to figure out, what am I dealing with right now?
There's
Right?
also this
Every book
sense
that
that,
I get to the end, I don't know about
yes,
you, but
it's
I get to the
true.
end and I'm like, what's eating at me for the past 2 years of my life that I threw it into this book?
It's so true. It really is sort of a roadmap of your emotional and experience grid. I was prepared because you delivered the commencement at the University of Michigan, which I think it's the gold standard for anybody that's going to deliver one of those beautiful see you off into the world to the senior class of a glorious school like Michigan. And I thought that you would be at a point in your life now, having done some of the children's books and your thrillers and your suspense and your nonfiction about real things that have happened. For a minute, I thought this was going to be, and maybe it's because of their names, Zig and Nola, I don't know. I thought it was going to be like a two for the road, more romantic kind of thing. And it's just explosive. And I'm saying to myself, well, then where is Brad right now with this war? Where is he? So can you tell us
Yeah.
where you are right now? From the little boy, I mean, I know your history and your mom and the loving of books and your family life, but what is it as we get older, we go back to that?
We have to.
Tell me why we have to go back.
I just think that those early things, the most complicated relationship you have in your life are your parents. They
Mm-hmm.
just are. And those things that they didn't give you and did give you, they mess us up and paint us beautifully forever. They're the best gifts and the worst gifts in the same breath. I can tell you this. I'll tell you my
Mm-hmm.
personal one. And I realized it after the story was done. If you want to know where I was in this one,
Okay.
is I didn't realize how angry I was at my father. I knew I was mad at stuff he'd done. My dad, when I was, and I love my dad. My dad passed away. My mom passed away. And I've made peace and with them before they died. Loved them dearly. Loved my mom so much. But my dad had a complicated relationship with. And he used to just blow crap up. That was my father. I'd be waiting to graduate Michigan as an undergrad, and they would tell me, you're being kicked out of school. No one paid your bills. I'd have to quickly make loans and make them available. And they're like, okay, you can stay now. So I settle everything down. Then I graduate. And the year I graduate, you change your home address. So now your mail gets forwarded. And
Mm-hmm.
all the mail starts getting forwarded. And I start getting bills, $40,000 of credit card debt. Because my father was opening up credit cards in my name on those offers that came to the house. Because that's how he was paying my college. He was taking out credit card bills. He was taking a 22% loan and a credit card rather than a 1% loan that he could have gotten through the government. And I settle it all out there like you got to testify against your father. You got to send him to jail. That's illegal. That's fraud. I talk everyone out of arresting him or I make peace with all the companies. We get everyone paid or whatever they're paid. We figure it all out. I settle it down again. But Adriana, if you get hit in the back of the head over and over, guess what you start doing? You start looking over your shoulder. And I was really pissed that my dad would just, every time something was calm, it felt like it blew up again. There were so many examples. But here's the part of the story that I didn't see. And I told this story at my dad's funeral, is my dad used to get beat up by his father. My grandfather was a boxer, used to hit him. And I also know that my dad used to jump in front of his younger brother, taking the punches so his younger brother wouldn't be hit. I know he used to jump in front of his mom because he didn't want my grandmother to be hit. And this was the part of the story I was missing is I was so mad at the pain that he had caused me and all the chaos that he had caused that I couldn't see that my dad was actually taking punches for me so I could be the first in my family to get out. I was the first in my immediate family to go to a 4-year college. And yes, it was a dumb idea to pay with credit cards for tuition. It was terrible to take a 22% loan on a credit card, but he was trying to do that so I didn't even have to take a 1% loan. He wanted to carry all the weight himself on his shoulders, but I was so mad I couldn't see that good intention from him. And I think as I was going through this book, you can see in the book what everyone is dealing with is just trying to come to terms with their past and make peace with it. And it's
And
far
also
more
the
complicated than you
process,
think.
it's so complex. And the process of that, of untangling those strands, which you're such a genius at, just, you don't know where it's going, but oh my God, by the end, you know what your intent was. Now I understand where that comes from in you and your ability. You make a mess to clean it up.
And that's my problem in life. My problem in life, and it's my greatest strength and it's my greatest weakness, right? Is that I always can look for where the mess is coming and I'm constantly cleaning it up because that's what I had to do my whole life with my parents, right? The negative is I'm always looking for the mess. And,
Oh,
when you do
yeah.
that, you're not in the present. And I've been just trying over these past years, everything looks great on Facebook and Instagram and all these things, but it's me trying to come to terms with how do I just be here and stop looking over your shoulder and just enjoy the moment. And I truthfully thought, I don't think I say this to anyone but you, just because you're near and dear to me, but I think I just thought, well, I'm a writer. I'm supposed to be observant. And if I'm at a party, I'm supposed to just watch things. I didn't feel like I was a part of it. I felt like our job is to observe.
That's right.
And then somewhere, I was like, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I want to be in there too. I want to be in the mix. And once I realized that it wasn't just me being a writer, it was me just kind of detaching and not being a part of it because I'm so scared of everything
Right.
going wrong, I was like, that was a huge step for me. And I think that's why this whole book is about these characters that are like, how are they trying to get here and be in the now as opposed to living in their own past? Because I think right now we live in our past sometimes, especially in our heads, a bit too much.
Well, you talk about and write about memory, and also like you touch on really mental illness and the struggles that we have when our brains let us down. Of course, others might say it's your heart letting you down. Brad, can you talk about that? Because you've had to solve problems in your life and address this.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, empathy is such a giant part of my
Mm-hmm.
life in terms of, searching for more of it, trying to create more of it. And, today,
Mm-hmm.
cruelty and venom and harshly judging those we disagree with, that's become sport in our culture. But
Terrible.
cruelty and venom aren't signs of strength. They're signs of weakness and petty insecurity. And what takes strength
Mm-hmm.
is putting yourself in someone else's shoes and going, oh my gosh, they're having an experience that is completely not what I thought they were having.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me, I think I think that the stories you love most and the stories I love most, it's not about the character, right? It's not about the plot. You love it because it says something about you. It's personal. There's a
Mm-hmm.
study done that said fictional characters have more impact on people than real life people do. Like
Mm-hmm.
Dumbledore and Atticus Finch has more impact on people than like a congressman and a senator. And to me, the reason is because we see our dreams in them. We see what we hope we can be. We see who we wish we were. We see our fears that are keeping us from being that person. And I think books for that reason are empathy machines. And I
Mm.
deal with those characters who are suffering emotionally because I'm trying to figure out for myself, how do I get past
Mhm,
this lock? And again, mine is not going to be nearly as bad as any of the characters I create,
mhm,
but I'm
mhm,
trying to create a pathway that I can again follow and that my readers can follow. And I love how many people tell me, I can't tell you how many people, and I know it's for you too. I see it. They're in chemo and they're like, your book is the only thing that got me through it. Or they're
I
suffering or they
hear that.
buried
Yeah,
a
for you.
loved one. And it's easy to get, things about, oh, I was on vacation and you entertained me. But like, I was a military member. I was serving in the military and your book was the only book we had on this
Mhm,
submarine. That's the only thing that got me through what we were going through. And I can't be on the receiving end of all that and not think, how do I give back from there? And I
sure.
think everything you see in there is me trying to just give it back in a hopefully a nice way and beautiful way.
I love that you shared with folks, and you have before, but I think that this is very deep, that you just shared with the listeners really the path that brought you here and how hard that was. You know, when I met you, you were already a star. Everybody's talking about you. You had a TV show, you were doing all this stuff. And I always marveled at you, and I always think of what motivates us. And I would always think, what motivates Brad's excellence? And then when you wrote the biographies of the famous Americans, which were very precious to me from Bob's Merrill. There was a collection in my small town library, but then you picked it up and modernized it and made it fun for the kids and made it it was the colors and the illustrations and I thought, you're really building a community with your books. Like, you have a sense of responsibility.
That is absolutely. I don't think I was prepared for what happened. I think what happened when I started writing, I was in my late 20s, and readers were in their late 20s, and then I had kids and started writing kids books, and my readers had kids.
Yeah.
And then when I got on TV, I was in their homes, and then their kids grew up. Last night, my youngest got into college, and I got all these texts from readers and thing on Instagram and everywhere that were saying, my kid just got into college. My kid's applying now too. And I realized my readers and we've been through it. Like, we got married together. We had kids together. We've just been through it together. And I love the fact that like, if you read my second book, it's about marriage because I got married. You read my third book, it's about kids because I had kids. And I think that community, if you, like, our signings are like your signings. Like, your signings are like an Italian dinner party. Mine are just a Jewish dinner party. Like, but it's still like because we are, we listen, you and I remember, you know what I remember my first memory about you? When we had this event that we did, we were the authors, I think it was in South Carolina, that big book and author luncheon, but you and I were in the back. We were the two talking to the waiters. And we have a philosophy in my house that says, if you're nice to me and you're a jerk to the waiter, you're a jerk. And I will judge everybody by how they talk to the waiters. And you and I were in the back, but I think that,
No,
it's
you were like a brother you were a brother in arms from the beginning.
Trust me, of course. You're literally, you were the big sister I looked up to. I was like, younger sister, big sister, whatever, but it was a sibling. It was like sibling love. And
yeah.
But I think we have the same philosophy of life, which is, I see you, with your readers, they're not readers to you. They're not readers to me. It's family. It's family. We fed them. You and I, both of us take food on tours. Why? Yeah, it's fun, but it's like, I get to feed everyone and bring them in closer. And I think that's like, I can't even describe it. It's just the only way I know how to do it. It's the only way you know how to do it. And I think
you know what? Nobody did it before you, really. I mean, it honestly, it was such a dry thing.
Well, I remember when I started, they were like, would you like to read from your novel? And I was like, no, that's boring. Who wants to do that? You can read at home, read it there. We're going to have a party. We're going to have fun. We're going to, we're on for the VIPER tour. Like, if you have, we have free VIPER tattoos. And if you wear a tattoo to the signing for the VIPER, you get to cut the line. So, like, we're going to have all these people with, like, tattoo. It's going to be awesome. Like, why? Because it makes me laugh and it's fun. And, like, we have enough, the world is on fire enough right now. Like, our job is I love that for those moments when you come with us, right? And I know it's for you too. You're going to have some fun.
We're going to have fun and we're going to laugh.
We're going to have a beautiful time together. And we're going to, that's it.
The VIPER's going to be huge. I'm telling you right now. It crackles. It's propulsive. It's fun. It's a shocker. I love Zig. I love Nola. I love the way you built this world. I mean, and of course, when I got to the end, I went like Arthur Conan Doyle. There's going to be another one. I could feel it.
Yeah, and those last two scenes in the book are two of my favorites.
Yeah.
I love you for it.
That's just so exciting. I can't thank you enough, Brad Meltzer. I think the world of you. You're a superstar, but you wear your success with such grace and such largesse and such fun. And I'm always surprised at what you do next. And I know this VIPER tour, get pictures of the tattoos, because that's going to kill me. Whatever there's a costume or a tattoo or makeup involved, I'm there. I love it. But how much fun this is going to be, in January of 2026 for everybody to line up for the VIPER.
And can I tell you, by the way, should I tell you, I brought, just for you, no one's seen it yet, it just came.
Okay.
What the next book is in February? Should I show?
I want to see.
Can
I see the fab? Oh, I would go crazy.
Okay, you ready for it?
Yeah.
It's our newest kids book. So after the VIPER for adults, you buy this for kids. It's our first book on empathy that we've ever done for kids. I am Princess Diana.
I love it.
I know you got to be a Princess Diana fan.
Of course I am. She's our girl. Oh my
she's a girl. I
God.
know. By the way, dedicated to my mother and to my daughter, the badass women who always are their own people.
Oh my gosh.
So I
I
love
am
this one. So
Princess
this one comes
Diana.
out
Well,
next.
we're going to get that into hands of readers too. But for
Love you for
January,
it.
I love you, babe. I love the Viper, and everybody's going to be reading it. Thank you, Brad Meltzer.
Love you.